in the last class, typography is like an aspect of design that commands emotion, that's like make whatever information or whatever feelings you want people to get, it makes that possible. Also, the same thing with color. Using some type of colors in your design would command some type of emotions. And today we'll be taking a look into what exactly is color. How can we combine colors together? Combine colors, we have a better understanding of how color works rather. Okay, so one thing you need to know is that color, all objects in this world are colorless. What gives them color is light. So color itself, it's a property of light. For every object that you are seeing and the color that you see on them is basically a pointer to how much light is reflected in that particular object. Okay, so with the understanding of that, based on the experience of different persons that have lived in this world and how they are exposed to light and how some of the objects that they have experienced, they came about what we call the color wheel. So the color wheel is basically a circular arrangement of colors, and this color wheel does not just like come to be. It is basically as a function of researches, which we'll not be going into. But what you need to understand is that for every colors that you see in this world, they actually come from the color wheel. So the color wheel help us to understand how colors are related, how one color blends into the other. As you can see on the screen, you can see like you have different colors that are arranged in a circular form rather. So that is basically what color wheel is all about, and you need to understand what this is all about, because for every project that you will be doing, or for every project that you have done, all of the colors that you have used actually came from this color wheel. So I'm going to be talking about how to combine colors or how to understand the color wheels better. But this is just like the fundamentals to you understanding the theory of color. One thing you also need to know about the color wheel is that it is divided into two parts. You would see on the right-hand side where you have the blue and the green. Those parts are called the cool parts. They are always perceived to be calm, to be friendly. They are also perceived to reflect growth. While the other one on the right-hand side, which are known as the warm color. So some of this color happens to be something that projects arrogance, something that projects royalty, something that projects elegance. So just have it at the back of your mind that color wheels is divided into two: the warm color and also the cool color. Now, moving on is to understand how to make use of the color wheels when you want to pick colors for your project. One of the ways you can combine colors when you are designing is to take a look at the color wheel and look at two colors that are opposite each other. As you have on the screen, this is red and this is another color. So which means if I'm working on a project that entails the use of red, one of the immediate complementary color that I can use is the one directly opposite to it. And the other immediate color I can use is the one that is immediately beside it, either on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side. But one of the easiest ways is just to look at the color that is like at the opposite side of the current color you are using. So if you are using this approach, because it entails like two colors, we basically say you are using a complementary color. While we go further in the lecture, we also look at how to combine 3 colors, 4 colors, and some other aspects of the color wheel and how to like pick the best colors for your project. So the first one is to look at if you identify the primary color you'll be using, identify it in the color wheel and look at the color that is directly opposite the primary color that you've identified. That will naturally be the most complementary color that you could have or you could use for that particular project. The second one is the monochromatic. So monochromatic means one. So in the sense of design, it means you are using different variation of a particular type of color. As you can see on the screen, this is color orange. So I could decide to use all these different variation of color orange on my project and it will still look very, very beautiful. So this is also one of the ways you could explore the use of color in your project. So you could decide to use 2 colors, you could decide to use the monochromatic, which is selecting one particular type of color and just use the different variation or different tones rather of that particular color. So the next one is the analogous type of color selection or color combination. This basically means you take one color on the color wheel and you select 2 or 3 immediate colors that are beside that color on the color wheel. As you can see, this is the primary color and the other 2 colors that are beside it could also be used on that particular project. Now, it is similar to what we have here, which is the monochromatic, one color with different shade. But in this case, you have different colors that are relatively close to each other. So if you are using, probably you are working on a project that entails you using this color purple, other color complementary that you could use is to explore the color magenta here and also the other color here as well. So they would really like go well on the project. If you are exploring color red, you could also explore the other 2 colors that comes after it. So this is also one of the ways to combine colors using the color wheel. The other one is the triadic color combination. So this one means you are selecting 3 different colors, but in a triangular form. Remember, in the analogous color combination, you're basically selecting colors that are close to each other. But in this, you are selecting colors in the shape of triangle. So if I'm working on a project that entails the use of red, so I could explore using blue and also using green. If I'm working on a project that entails the use of purple, I could also explore using orange and using this shade of green as a complementary color. So this is also one of the ways you could select colors on your project. Right now, one of the ways you could evaluate if you understand how to use, I think, maybe this is the right word. So one of the ways to understand a very good designer is to look at how the person takes a particular type of color and is able to express it in different forms. And this can actually happen using the use of shades, the use of tints, and the use of tones. Now, I'll try to explain this one after the other so you don't get confused. Now, you could see at the beginning parts of each of them, shades, tints, and tones, they basically have the same color. But if you look at the direction to the right, the shade or the variation of the colors changes. This is similar to the monochromatic, but this has like a very complex way to define what your design would look like, or to define what type of feelings you want the people to get and why they look at your design. But I won't go deep into this because this is just like an introductory class to this. So I'll basically just give you an overview of what it means and how you could achieve them. Now, for shade, this is you basically taking a particular type of color and you begin to darken it, you begin to add black to it. So let's say for instance, I pick color green and I want to like maybe get another different shade, but I really don't want to waste my time. I'll probably just go to my color panel in whatever software I'm working on. Then I just add black to it. I will get to the part where I'll talk about the different formats of color. So shades basically just mean you adding black to a color to make it quite dramatic, or to make it quite bossy, or to make it more dominant. White tint means you are making the color lighter. You are adding white to the color. You are making it lighter. You're making it softer. So you could also pick a particular type of color and add white to it in different percentage. And then you will get another variation of that particular color. And for tones, this is basically try to create a balance between the amount of white or the amount of black that you have in a particular color. This might not really like understand this, but I believe as you grow in your design journey, you get to appreciate the use of shades, tints, and tones the more in your project. But this is just for you to be aware that there's something like shades, there's something like tints, and there's something like tones when it comes to the use of colors. Okay, I think I made the mistake in the header here. So it's supposed to be hue, saturation, and luminance. So this is also some aspect of colors that you would also come by as you continue your journey in learning. Hues basically means or basically means representation of the primary colors in the color wheel. While saturation is how intensity or how pure the color is. Now you might want to like maybe mix them up together with shade and tints, but they are a bit different. I currently know that you are using Canva to work, but probably when you move to more complex software like maybe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, or maybe CorelDRAW, you will understand some of these things better because they are different. They are dialog box that you can play with around to understand how all of this works. But this is just like an intro to you to understand that if you hear the word saturation, you should know what it is all about. If you hear the word luminance, you should know what it is all about. So like I said, hue is just all the primary colors in the color wheel, while saturation is creating more intensity on the color to make it either darker or to make it more prominent. While luminance is just making the color more bright. Some software allows you to adjust color based on saturation and luminance, while some allows you to adjust the colors based on shade, tints, and tones. So depending on the type of software you are using, then you probably might come across some of these in the software. Now, the next one is forms of color. So this is very, very important for you to understand, because if you get to work on an actual project that is for a client and you make a mistake in understanding what form of color you should use, you might get into debt. I could remember working on a project, and the project is for print, and I make use of a wrong form of color. And when the output of the project was delivered, like the color was way different from what the brand color is. So that was because I didn't understand the fact that there is a particular form of color I should use in a particular use case. Now, when you are designing for something that will be posted on the social media, maybe for instance, you are designing something that will be posted on WhatsApp status, on Telegram, on any social media platform, or probably to be used on a website. The best forms of color that you have to use is the RGB. So the RGB basically means red, green, and blue. So this is the color that our computer screen recognizes. Now, if you want to make a design to be posted on social media and you use maybe and you use CMYK, now you might actually take a look at, probably you are looking at the real color, but when you export, you will discover that the color from the output is different from what you are looking on your screen. That is because our laptop doesn't really understand the color format of CMYK when it comes to display. All of the colors that you are seeing on the screen are being interpreted by either it is red, either it is green, or either it is blue. So that is the forms of color that our computer understands. So when you are working on a project that is just supposed to be posted on social media, the best form of color for you to use is RGB. And I understand that Canva actually have this. So most of the color mixing that you'll be doing will be based on this form of color. Then the next one is the CMYK. So the CMYK is basically the form of color that the printer understands. Printer, in this sense, does not mean the person that wants to print, but the actual machine that will be used to print. So if you are making a design that is to be printed, you won't get the best output if you use RGB. So you need to convert that particular color to CMYK. The consequence is that if you use RGB for it and it is being printed, the color format will be different because the code for red in RGB is different from the one in CMYK. So the computer machine interprets it differently. So if you are given a project, you need to ask if the project will be printed or if it should just be for social media posts. So this will allow you to know what forms of color you are supposed to use. So for every colors that you are supposed to mix together to get a particular color, they can either actually come from either the cyan, the magenta, the yellow, or black, which we call K. I don't know why it is called K though, but yeah, that is what we call it in the industry. Okay, I didn't update the content. So the next forms of color is the X color. The X color is basically used when you are working on a digital product. If you are using a software like Figma, sometimes I think I've also seen it in Canva as well. So the X color has like a form of hashtag with number and alphabet. For RGB, you basically have three numbers. Maybe R is equal to 13, B is equal to G is equal to 12, B is equal to maybe 16. Then it should give it that particular color. For CMYK, it could be maybe cyan is 20, magenta is 35, yellow is 40, and K is 10. Once you put all those colors together, you get a particular color. I will open my software, then we can look at all of this together. But for X basically is the combination of numbers and alphabets. So you don't use X when you want to design for print or when you want to you can use X for design for social media, but yeah, we basically use X when we are designing for, probably you are designing a website or you are designing a mobile application. Now to the next one, which is color psychology. This will be very, very short because I try to simplify it and also like go very deep into it. So color psychology is basically all about how the use of colors or how some particular set of colors influence how people think or how people behave or how people respond to things. So for every type of colors that you see used for a particular project, either an object or a print, there are reasons behind the use of colors. So you need to understand that for some particular set of colors, they are good for some particular use cases. Now, if I want to design something for a pure water, you will notice that most times it's either they are designed in color blue or they are designed in color green, because these are the colors that are related to the nature or to the origin of the business. If you are designing, probably want to design a flyer that is related to agriculture, you most likely use color green because that is the most appropriate color that is related to that particular business. If you want to design maybe for a bank that is youth focused, you probably want to explore color orange, probably want to explore color pink, because these are exciting colors that people would really want to associate themselves with. So that is exactly what color psychology is all about, how to understand the appropriate color to use for a particular context or for a particular use case, or a color that is generally accepted for a particular use. For instance, in the law industry, most of their projects is basically designed in black and in blue. You can see a law firm that has maybe color green. It is very rare because that color is not associated with that particular industry. That is for if you are designing for industry. Now, if you are looking at feelings, so there are particular set of colors that are known to be colors known for love. Like if you want to design Valentine flyer, most of times you make use of color red, color pink, because these are the colors that are generally accepted or generally known to be used as a form of love. So this is what color psychology is all about. It is the study of how different colors affect human mood and behavior. So if you really understand this actually has huge impact when it comes to conversion. That is, if you are working for a company and probably they want to introduce a new product or they want to introduce a new feature, if you understand how color works and you're able to implement it, it will actually increase sales, and they might end up increasing your salary or give you something special to spend, or because of the impact that you have made in the product. So now on the screen, you can see some colors, and on the top left, you can see some of the keywords that are associated to that particular color. And on the bottom right, you can see some of the feelings that are associated also to that particular color. On the top right here, you can see the color green with different shades. You can see anything that has to do with nature, growth, prosperity, health, hope, luck, life. They are mostly associated with color green. If you look at color black here, anything associated with luxury, darkness, sophistication, authority, elegance, mystery, power, they are associated with color black. So if you want to work on a project that are related to this, so you could explore color black with some other colors, but black could be dominant. When you want to work on luxury, one of the best colors you can use is color purple. Yeah, like I mentioned, color purple also like stand for royalty. If you are working on romance and love, one of the two best colors that you can use is either pink or red. So as you get yourself involved into understanding like the different aspects of colors and what it means, it will inform what type of colors or what type of shade of color that you're supposed to use on a particular project. So this is what color psychology. I will start with explaining the color form X. Now you can see a rectangle on my screen, and here you can see some numbers and alphabets. So this is a form of color X. From here, I could change to RGB. So this is Figma. This is another tool that you could explore for design. If you want to leave Canva, but you need to have a laptop before you can make use of this, and it is free. So let me duplicate this. Yeah. So this color format here is color X because of the numbers that you can see here. Now, for the next one, I will change the color format to RGB. Okay, let me copy this number. So let me change this here. So now this is the interpretation. So if I'm working on a software that only allows me to use the S color code, which means if I copy this number to another software, it will give me this color. But if I need to use this same color in another software that doesn't allow for that doesn't allow the use of S code, which means I need to convert it to another color. I need to convert it to a form that is allowed in that particular software. So let's assume that software allows me to use RGB. So because Figma has automatically changed the code for me to RGB, so what I just need to do is in the field where I have R, I will change it to the color code that I've gotten, and it will give me the exact color. Now, you would ask, how do I convert this to CMYK? So let's say this is CMYK. Let's say this is RGB. Let's say this is X. Now, one of the ways you could convert a color to easily convert a color is to use color converter. So you could say convert X to the CMYK. X to CMYK. So there are different options. So I will just paste the color code here. Now, if you look at the outputs, which is RGB here, you could see that this is 217, 217, 217. I think I made a mistake here. So if you look at here, you could see that the figures are the same, which is 217, 217, 217. So these colors, they are universal, but they are just basically making it possible for you to use that exact color in another form. Now, for CMYK, So which means if I'm to use this exact color, that is this particular code in X, this particular code in RGB, and if I want to use it as CMYK, which means for the C, it has to be 0, for the magenta, it has to be 0, for yellow, it has to be 0, and for black, it is just 14.7.
Figma cannot do, does that mean Figma cannot do print design?
So yeah, okay. I don't want to like get them confused because it might be a bit complicated to them. So if we are doing direct printing, if you are doing DI, you can use Figma if there's no color separation. I've done some designs that are just for DI. You can't use color separation for it. But if we are making a design that entails the use of color separation, that it has to go through processing, then you can't use Figma for it.